before we start the video, I'd like to ask you guys to please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video, as it helps the channel grow. So, let's get into it. Alright, welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for taking a little bit of time to spend a little time with me, your boy KT. Today I will be going over the Bears' unofficial schedule for the 2025 NFL season. A quick note before I start this video, these are all the confirmed games that I found and that other people have found and speculated about or released on the internet. These are all the confirmed games. Everything else, as far as the other games that haven't been confirmed, is just speculation. There's trackers out there if you want to go search up the full schedule. But just note that I probably will be making another video about this in the future, because when the full schedule comes out, I want to go over that in its entirety. So, before we get started, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, that like button, that notification bell, so you get notified every time I drop one of these Bears videos. I'm excited for the 2025 NFL season, so let's get straight into it. We're going to hop right into week 1. All right, so for week 1 for the Chicago Bears, they will be taking on the Minnesota Vikings at home on Monday Night Football to open up the season. This honestly feels like one of those trap games that will be really, really difficult to win on the first night. Now, with that being said, this will probably be our first look at J.J. McCarthy facing the Bears defense at Soldier Field. We'll see how he does. But, you know, this is also going to be expanding on the rivalry between Ben Johnson and Brian Flores, that interesting matchup that they had last year, in which Ben Johnson absolutely dominated, and you know Brian Flores is going to be looking for a little bit of revenge. Same thing with the Bears. We had plenty of chances to beat them last year as well, but we kind of squandered those as well. This is a great game for the Bears. I kind of hate that it's on prime time, as I really wanted to see a 12 o'clock game on the first Sunday of the new NFL season, especially for the Bears, but they're getting a Monday Night Football game at home with their new coach. That stadium should be full week 1. We'll see what the Bears are able to do in week 1. Moving on to week 2. Now, I think this has been explicitly confirmed, but the Bears will be playing the Detroit Lions in week 2. They will be on the road in week 2 to face the Detroit Lions, and this is the revenge game for Ben Johnson going into the year. It's a short week. We're going to get a really, really short week coming off of the Monday Night Football game. This game might be more difficult than the Minnesota game, in my opinion. This will be, I think, a classic 12 o'clock start, so this will not be on prime time. But this is the Ben Johnson game, Ben Johnson versus Detroit game, Detroit versus Ben Johnson. A lot of drama in the offseason coming from Detroit fans all offseason, and Bears fans as well. This game means a lot to the players, as you know, they've been going back and forth about things. You know, Detroit feels a certain type of way about Ben Johnson leaving. But you also got other guys like Antron Randall, who will be returning to Detroit as well. This seems like if Ben Johnson is the guy to coach the Chicago Bears, this really is going to be a really, really very fun game to watch. Hopefully they're able to squeak out with a win in week 2. But they'll have a tough challenge going to Detroit in week 2. Let's see if they can pick up a win in week 2 as well. Now I'm going to skip all the way to week 5 and 6 because while it's not been explicitly confirmed, it is kind of making the rounds that the Bears will have a bye week in week 5. Just get the bye week out the way. I don't know how I really feel about that. I really like late bye weeks because I feel like teams are able to perform better and they won't gas out late into the season. But unfortunately, after the bye week, we get the week 6 matchup on Monday Night Football against the Washington Commanders. Another nightmare game that can cause everybody PTSD from the moment this got announced. As if you don't remember, the Bears faced the Washington Commanders last year off a bye week and it didn't go well. We'll be seeing Jaden Daniels again. We'll be in their house, so we'll be on the road for that game. But you know, hopefully the Bears can walk into Washington and avenge that loss that they had last season. As you know, it was a really, really not only embarrassing loss, but it kind of tipped their whole season. So hopefully the Bears can be able to walk into Washington and somehow find a way to come out with a win, as that game will not be easy at all. Moving on, week 8 we'll be taking on the Baltimore Ravens on the road. Rainy day. It'd probably be raining in Baltimore, as it usually does. You know, Lamar Jackson, always a tough stop That's going to be a really hard game to win. This team was just in the playoffs last year. We're still kind of finding our way to become a good team like the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to be facing the entire AFC North as well. So this is probably going to kick off that trip, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see what they're able to do in Baltimore. Prime candidate to be a loss on that schedule, as that will be one of the more difficult games, as the reigning MVP, the reigning MVP, Lamar Jackson, no, not reigning, should have been MVP, Lamar Jackson, and along with Derrick Henry, that game will really test our run defense in Week 8. By then, we'll probably know who the Chicago Bears are, so hopefully they can go into Baltimore and not get absolutely obliterated. The very next week, in Week 9, we take on another AFC North opponent, and Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals just re-upped on T. Higgins and Jamar Chase in the offseason. They're having issues with Trey Hendrickson right now, but I don't think they're going to be letting him go anytime soon. Hopefully they can get a contract done with him. If not, he can come here and rush the passer for us. But this will be the second straight game against the AFC North. Bengals, high-powered offense. Two great receivers, not much of a running game, and their defense still leaves a lot to be desired. We'll see how they look. I kind of feel like this, out of all the teams in that AFC North, this will probably be the easiest, one of the easiest teams to beat in that division. But only time will tell. They'll be facing them in Week 9. We'll also be on the road for that game. Moving on, we are going back to Soldier Field in Week 10 to take on the New York Giants. This game, I feel like, should be a win. New York Giants, they've had a lot of interesting moves. They went out and got 3 quarterbacks this offseason, and Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Jackson Dart. They drafted one. They drafted Abdul Carter. They still have Malik Neighbors. The New York Giants are a team that, that gives the Bears some type of trouble every time they play them. But we'll be at home for that game. Not really sold on the quarterback room for the New York Giants. I still don't know who their running back is either. I'll make sure I check that again. But the New York Giants, that we also play the entire NFC East as well. And after that Washington game in Week 6, this should probably be one of the easier wins on the schedule. So Week 10, we got the Bears and the Giants with the Bears at home. Hopefully they can pick up a win there, as that game should pretty much be easy for them. Moving on, Week 13. This is the big one going into Week 13. We will be playing the Black Friday game against the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm sorry, the reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. This game will be one of the hardest games on the schedule, if not the hardest game on the schedule. The Philadelphia Eagles still got Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, great offensive line, re-upped on defense. Their offense is high-powered. They got a lot of good pieces on that Philadelphia Eagles team. Hopefully we can see a bit of regression from the Philadelphia Eagles. We do not get the Thanksgiving game, but Black Friday is probably going to be one of the most watched days as well. Great that we have football on Black Friday. Not great that we're going to be playing the Philadelphia Eagles. This will be one of the toughest games of the season. Moving on, Week 16 versus the Green Bay Packers. This will also be a primetime game on Fox. We'll be on a doubleheader with the Washington Commanders playing, I think, Dallas that day or Philadelphia, one of the two. This will be the much anticipated rematch for what happened last season at Lambeau Field. Green Bay is looking for their revenge for that. We'll probably be playing Green Bay a little bit earlier in the season at this point, because I don't see them just facing the Green Bay Packers at Week 16, because then we only have 2 games left and we end the final game against a team in Detroit. So we'll probably be facing the Green Bay Packers before them, but this will probably be the game in Lambeau. This will be a primetime game. Hopefully the Bears are going to go in there and smack them. This should be the year that we can't. This is probably the better year than most that we can have a chance to sweep the Green Bay Packers this year. And I'm really looking forward to seeing them play against the Green Bay Packers. If nothing else, you want to beat the Packers every single time. This game matters a little bit more because it's late in the season. You'll probably be playing for playoff positioning at this point if you're having a good season. This game will also be on Saturday, so everybody will probably be watching it. So they'll be playing Green Bay in Week 16. And finally, Week 18, the last confirmed game on the schedule, we will be playing the Detroit Lions at home for the final game of the season. The Detroit will come here. By this point, the season, the standings will be pretty much set in stone. Hopefully the Bears are winning this division, or at least second in this division. Like I said, Detroit is always a matchup that's going to be interesting, especially now that we have Ben Johnson on the team. I'm not sure if, you know, we might be beat up at this point in the season. Everybody's going to be a little bit tired. This game will be at home. It is not a prime time game, so that's good. Detroit, these divisional matchups against Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota always seem to be close and contested. And, you know, with these divisional games, we always seem to lose them by 1-point swings, or, you know, just some type of mistake that the Bears made last season. Hopefully with Ben Johnson there and, you know, Dennis Allen there, they can get this team on track and we can start winning a lot more of these divisional matchups. But that's how we will end the season. We will end the season with the Detroit Lions, the arrogant Detroit Lions. So I'm glad to hear that. Hopefully we can get a win at Soldier Field to send the fans home happy and end the season. Now, like I said before, these are just the confirmed games as I know it. Again, I might go back and revise this as more games start to be released. You know, but so far this seems like a pretty brutal schedule that the Bears are going to have. As of speaking this moment, they probably have the second hardest schedule in the NFL based on winning percentage last year. Really looking forward to that Week 6 game against Washington and that Week 16 game against Green Bay. Those are two teams that, especially against Washington, we really need to get our lick back against Washington. Maybe even Detroit in Week 2. That's going to be an interesting game, as well, as that will be the first time we will see the Lions in the season. And you know they have a bug up their backside about Ben Johnson leaving them like a beat up ex. But yeah, man, this schedule looks pretty brutal. I'll probably update this video when the official schedule comes out. It's damn near pretty much confirmed that we have a lot of primetime games. We might have at least 4 or 5 of them. That sucks, as I hate watching primetime games. It takes all day. It makes me anxious, and on top of that, if they lose, I go to bed upset. So, you know, but that's the schedule as we have it so far. Once the full schedule comes out, I'll probably update this to, you know, fit that schedule, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think about the schedule so far. Do you like it? Do you hate it? What games do you see us winning out of all these? Let me know down in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video, as it helps the channel grow. Make sure you guys hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I drop one of these Bears videos. You know, make sure you follow me on social media. There's bound to be more schedule leaks and roster moves and everything else about the Bears going on social media. I might do other teams with their schedule as well when the full schedule comes back, so be looking out for that. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'm out. Peace.